Sean, I guess we'll start with the injury situation. Obviously not ideal going into a game like this. How do you get the reserve guys ready to go, especially on the offensive line?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a great challenge for us. It's been a great week of preparation, though. Coach Callahan does an excellent job getting those guys ready to go and putting them through all the looks that we expect to see. And we know Coach Bowles and his staff does an excellent job presenting a variety of looks with excellent players and personnel. So it's going to be a big day for a lot of guys getting an opportunity to step up and fill in for some big-time veterans that are core players for us.
Josh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Josh Laribas, obviously been here a while. You've seen him the whole time. Is there something now about his game that says that maybe he's more ready now to handle this sort of situation? Even he said a couple years ago he may have dreaded this, but now he's excited for it.
Yeah, I think he's a more mature player. Anytime that you're able to get more experience, you gain that confidence. I think he does feel comfortable communicating the calls and different things that need to go on at the line of scrimmage with what he's responsible for. And we put a lot on those center shoulders, and Corey's done an excellent job holding up the standard that we set for that position at center, and we're expecting Josh to fill in and do a nice job on Sunday.
Sticking with Josh in the center position, is there going to be a situation where you're going to be, quizzing him between you and Bill Callahan, quizzing him the whole time right up until game time? Okay, you got this look. What do you call? You got that look. What do you call?
Yeah, definitely. That's one of those things that Coach Callahan, throughout the course of the week, he's always challenging his guys, always quizzing them in the meeting rooms, making sure he's putting them through situations on the practice field. And you guys see there's not a single wasted minute on the practice field during special teams periods as well. So he's really been grinding on Josh hard this week, and I think he's done a nice job with the looks that we presented. And we know, as with anything, that Coach Bowles will have a couple looks that we haven't seen on tape, and hopefully our rules will hold up, and he'll be confident in being able to handle those.
Sean, if I could shift to left tackle. I guess Ty Neshke is a player few fans know much about. What have you seen or do you see in him that gives you confidence that that's a better choice than, I'm trying to think what your other options might be. I mean, well, for example, was there any thought given to moving Sheriff back to his old college spot, or is that just way too disruptive in the big picture? Could you sort of take us through the thinking, the deduction that led you to Neshke?
Exactly. I think you want to try to keep as much continuity as you can as possible. Brandon, I think, has done a nice job settling in at that right guard spot, and he and Morg are continuing to develop a rapport together. And then you throw Josh inside in the mix, and you want to try to keep some continuity, losing some two key veteran players. And Ty is a guy that's had the ability to play both right and left tackle for us. Kind of a guy didn't know what to expect coming into camp, and I think you've seen him slowly and steadily progress as he's gotten more and more experience. And he's a big guy. He's strong. He's got some length. So it'll be exciting for him. We know it's going to be an excellent, great challenge against a very, very tough defense, but I think he's excited about the opportunity he's got on Sunday.
For you, as putting together a game plan play caller, when you don't have Jordan, you don't have may or may not have DeSean. Trent does things that other left tackles can't do, and you can do things with him. How much more of a challenge does it make it for you to then craft something, put it together?
Sure, it does. Anytime that you lose some of your valuable weapons that are, dynamic playmakers in the pass game, you've always got to adjust. And I think that's what you see good coaches do, is you adjust and you figure out ways to try to put your players in the best positions that you can to help those guys succeed on Sundays. And that's what we've tried to do as a staff this week as we've formulated our game plan, and hopefully it goes well when we play.
So DeSean's obviously questionable, so game time decision. What at least would that do to get him back in and have that deep threat that you guys have tried to have with Rashad Ross, but obviously can't replace a guy like DeSean?
Sure, he's a special talent. Anytime that you have a guy like him that's able to create big plays down the field, and it's unfortunate that he hasn't been able to play, because I think he's done a nice job with his underneath and intermediate routes too when he's been able to practice, and where you've seen a little bit more route versatility with him. And he's a guy that definitely changes the way teams defend you because of his ability to get down the field. And we'll be excited if we're able to have him go, and we've got some plans in place for that. And if not, then we'll be ready to adjust accordingly.
Sticking with DeSean, is there a value in having him on the field even if he's 80%, just as kind of the the threat of his simply being there, forcing the defense to maybe do some other things.
Certainly. I think a guy like that draws that type of attention. You obviously always want him to be 100%, but I definitely think just his presence out there alone has defensive guys pay a little bit more attention because of the things he's been able to do over the course of his career with regards to those big plays.
Julio Jones wasn't perfection, health-wise, but obviously he was someone you guys had to give thought to in that game.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Those special players dictate a different way that you have to approach your game plan from a defensive standpoint. It's the same way with us offensively. When you go against a dynamic pass rusher, a special corner, you want to try to do a good job of regulating what their impact on the game will be and how you adjust, whether it's double teaming guys, staying away from certain guys. And it's the same thing when you have special players offensively, I would imagine, for defensive coaches.
I guess the last guy on the injury list we haven't hit on is Matt Jones. If he can't go, Jay was saying yesterday that there were packages you like to use for him, certain plays you like to use for Alfred. So is that going to, if he can't go, is that going to limit what you guys can do?
I wouldn't say it's going to limit what we can do. I think more along the lines of with our three backs that we have, you kind of want to try to settle in and have them find what their role is with how they fit based on what we're doing within that game plan. And I think we feel like Alfred and Matt are both very good runners on first and second down. Obviously, the dynamic that Chris presents out of the backfield as a pass-catching back and some of the things he can do in those obvious passing situations, third downs, he's been a very valuable asset. But if Matt's able to go, we'll be excited to have him. If not, then we're very confident in Alfred's ability to carry the load like he's shown he can do over the course of his career.
Go to them having Revis, obviously. How much does that change what you guys can do? Because you're not going to see a guy like that on a weekly basis at that level. And obviously he's able to play all over the field as well. It's not like he takes away one side. How does that factor in?
No, it definitely does. He's a special player. You can see why he gets the notoriety that he does. He's excellent and off man. He can play. He can come up on the line of scrimmage. He's played with some guys in the slot this year. And you can see, depending upon how they look at your personnel, they may have him travel with certain guys and may not. And I think he's as good as there is in the league. And then, really, I think Buster Skrine, Cromartie, they have excellent DBs all over the field. They're excellent up front. They have no weaknesses on this defense, and you can see why they are arguably one of the best, if not the best, in the league.
I just want to get your thoughts on the Falcons game. Just looking back real quick, we've kind of rehashed that final play over and over already, but just your general thoughts on Kirk's play and not getting the running game going like I'm sure you guys wanted to.
Sure. It was tough. I thought Atlanta did a nice job loading the box, and credit to them. They did a good job stopping us on the run. And then anytime that you have a game like that where you feel like you're able to get some momentum at the end, start getting some things going. I think before that last play, Kirk had completed about 10 in a row, and we felt like we were really moving on that last drive, and it's very disappointing. Unfortunately, those guys made a play, and we didn't. And as a guy that's responsible for some of those plays and things like that, you always question. I wish we would have put them in a better situation to have some success, and that's something where, as a coach, just like we expect our players to, I'll learn from some of the mistakes that I made in that game, and you try to critically evaluate yourself so that when some of the situations that did come up within the framework of that game or even at crunch time, you're able to handle them better moving forward and put your players in good positions where you feel like it's conducive for them having success.